they'll fly by.
Oh, absolutely. Time is going so quickly, isn't it, really?
Yeah, scary.
It is, it is. When you get to this age, it's even more scary.
So you're very welcome, guys, to the practice. It's 11 now, so we get started. So I hear you're in the garden. You'll appreciate some of the stretches we're going to do now, and I'll keep that in mind that you are gardening. So I'll keep that in mind around the hamstrings, the hips, the areas that we work a lot with when we're in the garden. Okay, just fix this camera here now so you can see my head. Record it for the course. Perfect. So I'm going to invite you to sit down in your chair. There's the choice to put your feet on something you can elevate, to take the knees higher than the hips. And this can often give a great sense of relaxation around the hips. So gardening involves a lot of upper and lower body work. And we can be crouched down in one position for a period of time. I remember the first time we did the bog, we decided to get some turf for the winter a couple of years back, and my hamstrings were on fire for weeks after it. It can be the same in the gardening as well. The hamstrings can really pay for it, but it's worth it, right? It's such a therapeutic thing to do. So I welcome you all to today's practice, the third of our fourth session. I have no idea where the time is going. As Grania said, it's absolutely flying by. We're nearly at the end of the month of June. I hope you're having a good summer so far. So as we are sitting here, I want you to take time to get your spine up straight and take a moment to feel a sense of relaxation on your body. You may have had a very busy morning. You may have a busy schedule after this class today. But I'd love for you just to park that to one side, put it to one side, and allow yourself to nurture your mind, your body, your heart in this practice, starting off with a meditation. You can have the hands face down on the thighs, you can face them upwards, you can place them together, as long as you feel relaxed and comfortable in the position you're choosing to take. Relax your shoulders down and away from your ears, and lengthen up your spine. Take a moment to notice your feet as they are, resting on what's underneath the feet, that sense of grounding, support. Take a moment to center yourself into the practice. The practice is all about going inward. Notice how you're breathing without changing anything there. Just observing how the breath is. Drop your shoulders down away from the ears. Feel the arms getting heavier as they rest on your thighs. It's up to you whether you'd like to close your eyes. If not, soften your gaze. Just notice the breath. Don't change it yet, but just observe it, breathing. We'll take a little body scan to embody ourselves a little bit more. And start with your feet, awareness, no criticizing or judging. Just pure love and compassion for your body. Allow the awareness to travel up through your ankles, up to your shins and calves, knees, backs of the knees. Observe any conversation as you move up through the legs, thighs, thigh muscles, into the buttocks, the hips, the pelvic. Moving up towards the torso, the lower thoracic spine, up into the upper back and the shoulders. Drop the shoulder blades down. Moving down through the arms, the upper arms, lower arms, into the palms of the hands, each and all of the fingers, up into the neck and the head, right up into the crown of the head. And from the crown of your head, let a wave flow down through the entire body as you scan left and right, all the way down. What part of your body is wanting you to give it attention, is a little bit needy, Move your way down through the body, all the way down to the feet. Now we're going to begin our breathing here, so I'm going to invite you to breathe in through your nose. Expand your belly, pause at the end of the breath and breathe out through the nose. Pausing at the end, continue this rhythm. See if you can breathe in for 4. Pause for 2, breathe out for 4. Through the nose, see how that feels. Pause for 2, in through the nose, out through the nose. You can do longer than 4 if you wish, if you're practicing breathing a long time and maybe you're gone past 4, so see how you do. Not forcing it, just let it happen organically. Again, you can increase the pause for a couple of more seconds if it feels right. Continue that rhythm, inhaling, exhaling. Stay with the breath, the sound and the movement and the temperature. Your head often wants to go in there and pull you away to a story, something in the past, something in the future. None of it you have the power over, but you do have the power of the present moment. So anchor yourself in this moment with the breath, with the feeling sensations of the body. Again, zero judgment, just observing how you are feeling right now in this space you've created for yourself. Maybe continue for about 5 more of these breaths. Each time you want to feel yourself relaxing a little bit more. It's like anything, it's like creating a new muscle in the body. You're creating a new muscle around this breathing technique and this meditation. It doesn't happen overnight, but every day you take a little micro moment to practice the pause and the stillness, and that's where your creativity comes in. That's where we can solve and unravel things that we need to unravel in our lives, taking the pause. And you may find that, you mentioned gardening, you may find that you get lost, and as you get lost you don't even know what time it is, and that's powerful. That's being in the present moment, that's being in your creativity, and there's a tremendous power in there. And sometimes life can get busy and pull us off our center and derail us from our center. So use this method to come back to your center. So we're going to let that go now. Take a moment to bow towards your heart space. You may want to set an intention for your practice, whatever that may be. Take a moment to set the intention. And now we'll move into the practice. Well done. So from here we're taking what we call a sun salutation in the seated position in our chair. You're welcome to leave the legs as they are, or if you wish to outstretch them a little bit, you can roll whatever's underneath your feet and stretch the legs out straight. Hands are on the thighs. Inhale, lift up towards your chest. Exhale, fold, leading with your chest bone, and fold yourself over wherever your bind is. You're welcome to allow your head to drop down as long as it feels comfortable. Then on the exhale, slowly come up, and when you come up, take your hands up over your head and bring them up, reach them up, look up over the head. And then on the exhalation, fold your body over. As you're breathing out, let the hands drop wherever they feel comfortable. Fold the body over. Drop the shoulder blades down. Have a listen to the hamstrings. See what's going on in the backs of the legs. Inhale, the hands come up. Stretch, reach, look up. Exhale, hands alongside the body. Fold the body over. Let the body fold. Lead with the breastbone. Let the whole body fold over. And this is where you can particularly find it in your hamstrings. And slowly come up into a seated position and take a moment to notice how that felt in your body. So hopefully you were feeling it in the backs of the legs. They're the hamstrings, and that's generally a place that can get extremely tight. So we're going to fold our body over, leading with the breastbone. Slide the legs down, slide the arms down the legs as far as they will. Lead with the breastbone and fold yourself over to wherever that fold brings you. Drop your shoulder blades down. Get curious about the conversation here. Again, it's not forcing yourself to go further than you need to go. It's listening to your body and listening to where it's making room for you to go a little bit more. Listening into what's been unraveled. And then really slowly come up into the seated position. Notice how that feels. Zero judgment, zero criticizing, just love, compassion, noticing how the body feels. So we're going to move into the legs. We're going to start with the legs today. So I'm going to invite you, you can still stay on your bolster or whatever you're choosing to use underneath your feet. I'm going to invite you to hug your right shin into your chest. So again, if you were working in the garden, you might be finding this in your glutes, so across the strip of your lower back. The important thing is to keep your spine straight here. So keep your spine straight, drop the shoulder blades down, and you're hugging the knee in to get into whatever the conversation is on the hip. And then we're going to release it. I'm going to invite you to hold onto your knee and take a little circle with the knee, okay? You can choose how big that circle is going to be. Obviously, the wider it goes out, the deeper you go into the hip. Now change the direction of the circle around the opposite way. Listen into what's going on in the hip joint and then come back into the center. Take a pause and notice what's going on here on that hip center, on that hip joint. Okay, whether you want to use the bolster, it's entirely up to you. I'm going to leave it out. It's too high for me to go into my hips if my knees are higher than the hips. We'll take the right leg up to the left thigh. Okay, forgot that I was mirror imaging. Okay, I'll try and remember that the next time. We're going to keep this foot flexed. So here's where you're working with your hip. On your hip, you've got 6 external rotator muscles. You've got 6 of them to help rotate your hip. Okay, so that's quite a lot. So there's a lot of muscle there that you're working with. In those 6 external rotators, there's one called piriformis. Maybe you've heard of sciatica or sciatica nerve that you can get where the nerve is pinched. This piriformis muscle is very deep set in this group. But the thing with the piriformis is it moves externally and internally. So it's a muscle that has a double dual action. Because of that, it's prone to getting tighter. And because the sciatic nerve is underneath that muscle, it's a tendency to pinch on that nerve, and that's where you can get that shooting pain down along your leg, because that piriformis is tight. So what you're doing here is helping to release that piriformis. So to go a little bit deeper, take your hand to your ankle and your knee and fold yourself over, and then you may notice the conversation starting to get a little bit more bitter, a little bit more edgy. So just notice that as you fold over, what that conversation feels like. You don't want to feel pain, so know the difference between tension. Tension is bitter, dull, achy, not very pleasant. Pain is sharp, it's edgy, like a blowtorch in the area. Other things to avoid are numbness and lack of circulation. Any of those you avoid. But the tension, keep it on a scale of 1 to 10, between 2 and 5, and you're good. 5 being the highest, 2 being the lowest. You can go into 5 and back off, and you can play around with that. Just listen, relax your body and breathe and listen to that conversation in the hip. Any of you suffer from sciatica or taking long journeys in your car or in a seated position for quite a period of time, then try this shape for yourself to help you manage the sciatica. For some of us it doesn't go away, but we can manage it. We can ease it off for ourselves. Slowly make your way back and take that leg down. So here's where you often feel a sweeter sensation around the hip, and in this type of yoga, we say go through the bitter to feel the sweet. So take a moment to just savor that sweeter sensation around the hip. Okay, good job. So let's go into the other side. So you're going to take the opposite leg up and bring it to your thigh. So it comes up here, and we make sure that we don't crunch the ankle. Now you know this side can be different. I used to think one side will be different because one side's tighter than the other. Not always necessary. Let me just share you a couple of nuggets of wisdom around the anatomy and the skeletal body. So in the body you have the acetabulum of the hips, the two little holes where the bone of the thigh bones go into. Well, these acetabulum, one side can be in this direction, the other side can be 30 degrees off alignment, and that can be the structure of the skeletal body. They're not equal on both sides. Then your femur bones, they're not straight all the time. They can be bowed inwardly, outwardly. The shaft of the femur can be long, it can be thin, narrow, and it can be different degrees as well. Okay, so that's sometimes why you might have a difference on one side of your body than the other. Not always necessarily is it, oh, I'm overusing this side of my body, or this side is tighter. It can be the structure of the skeleton, and no two skeletons are the same either. So we'll go a little bit deeper into the 6 external rotators plus the piriformis, 6 altogether. Hand on the knee, hand on the ankle, and we fold ourselves over, leading with the breastbone. And as we fold over here, we'll get curious about what is showing up on this side of the body that we're moving into. What's showing up? Without judgment, criticizing, giving out, none of that. We're going in there with awareness. We're going in there like a seer and observing the conversation, the edge. So relax your body and allow yourself to go into that edge and get curious about your own body and what it is you're unraveling on your own hips. Just notice what's going on in there. So if you were to practice this daily for 5 minutes a day, or get into a habit like brushing your teeth, where if you're in a seated position, watching the TV in the evening time, that you rock out a few of these stretches, you really will be doing yourself massive favors moving forward. Investing in your body. So think of it as gifting yourself, not punishing yourself. And then slowly come up. I'm going to release that leg down. You can pop them onto your bolster and take a moment to sit down and just notice the sweetness, which makes it often a lot worthwhile going into that bitter. And take a moment to savor that. Good work. Okay, so we're going to move into another shape here to get another set of muscle groups stretched. These are abductors, inner thigh muscles, and the groin. So we're going to bring the feet out to the edges. So you can scoot yourself out to the edge of the chair, and you're going to bring your knees out as far as they will for you into this shape here to stretch abductors and the groin on both sides. Hugely important that we do this type of work as well, because everything we do is forward. So these guys don't regularly get stretched as much as they need to. And then they can pull at other parts of the body and they can upset our knees. Sometimes you have something going on in your knee, but it can be referring from your hip. Or sometimes there's something going on with your shoulder and it can be referring from this hip over here. The body's amazing. The body's incredible. It's about us tuning in and tapping into the conversation there. So we bring the right hand, yay, I'm mirror imaging, right elbow down on the right thigh. And then we're going to take the left hand up over the head, and that is a beautiful stretch underneath your armpit, extremely beneficial for your lymphatic nodes underneath the armpit. Keep yourself nicely aligned here, drop your shoulder blades down, leave loads of room to breathe into your chest, leave loads of room for your rib cage. You're not squishing it, and you're feeling that stretch. Your sit bones are grounded. And it's almost like you're reaching your hand to fetch something on the top shelf. So feel like you're reaching a little bit further each time. So you're getting into the sensation of tension in your body, which means you're working at stretching out the fascia, connective tissue, and the muscles. And slowly come back into the center. Again, a lovely sensation afterwards. May not be so pleasant while you're in there, but worth it afterwards. We'll take the opposite hand down, and this hand comes up over the head. Same thing now that applies here. You make the room for your chest to be able to breathe into it. That hand is reaching, that right hand is reaching like you're fetching something off the shelf. Your sit bones have not lifted off your chair, and you're guiding your knees away from each other, so you're getting the stretch on the inner thighs as well. So you're doing both upper body and lower body here. And don't forget to breathe. Breathing in and out through your nose. And then really slowly come back into the center. You can take those knees together, rest them up on your bolster, and sit yourself back in the chair and feel the gorgeous sweet afterwards. Makes it so worthwhile. So yoga can be an art of slowing down as well and letting go. Letting go of the tensions that may be built up in your body. That's really good. So the next shape we're going into is the cat-cow. Highly recommended for gardening, 100% for gardening. You can do it on all fours or you can do it on your chair. So I'm going to invite you to turn to the side of your chair. You can take your bolster or whatever you're using for your feet to that side with you. And then we take our hands on our knees and we're going to make the cat-cow shape. So you hook your body back, you take your chin to your chest. Then on the inhale, you come forward with the chest, you're arching, you're taking the chest forward. The chin stays in line with the midline. And it's like you're squeezing a pea between your shoulder blades. Then on the exhale, you're coming to the opposite shape, chin to chest, hook in, hollow the chest, feel the stretch of the back of the body. Inhale, you're coming forward. This is a wonderful one to do after a day full of gardening. 100% gets into the spine, which can get jammed from all of that work. Rewarding work, I must say, and forward again. And it's lovely to step back and see the work that you've done, but don't forget to look after you as well, as if you're one of those plants that needs nurturing and soothing as well as the care that you give to the plants. So here's where we bring our knees and our ankles together. We're going to take our hands around to take the back of the chair, bring your elbows out wide. And then from here, we're going to take a twist to get into thoracic T-spine, into the middle spine. Get another one, especially if you're doing a lot of the work in the back of the body. So just notice what that's like there. And then we come back into the center. That's really good. And we're going to move ourselves over to the other side. So we may have to bring our bolster with us and move ourselves over to the other side. So transition, not like you're in this huge big hurry, because you're not, with the practice. So we'll take our hands to our knees again, and we're sitting up nice and tall. And then we arch. So you think of a cat, a scared cat, or if you've ever seen a cat stretching, they really know their stuff, or a dog. You've seen them, if you watch animals, they really have a lot to teach us. And then we go forward with the chest. So we're doing this from joy. We're not doing this because we feel it's a chore, but that we have to. So come from a place of joy, knowing that what you're doing here, your body's going to appreciate. If you feel you need to do more, do more. If you feel you need to do less, do less. Okay, that's really good. So come back into center, and we're going to take the twisted shape. We take the hands to the chair, to the back of the chair, and the elbows go out wide, and then we twist. So you're hitting thoracic spine, which is here in the middle spine. Your rib cage connects here. This is the only place you can twist, but it's a lovely one to release out the muscles in the back of the body. And again, breathe into this shape. And then really slowly come back and bring yourself around to the center. Okay, good work. So we're going to do our standing pose, because we always like to do standing pose. Last week, I think I did the warrior shapes. I think. Okay. Then this week we're going to do the tree pose. So this is a standing pose, and we're going to use our chair as a prop to get into the standing pose. So I'm going to invite you to stand up, and I just have to make little adjustments on the camera so the camera is able to see me. And I'll just make a little adjustment here as well. So the tree is a wonderful representation of finding the balance in your own life. If you ever feel like you're out of balance, all you've got to do, not all you've got to do, what you need to do if you're out of balance is center yourself, recenter yourself. So we're in the standing position with the chair beside us for support. And on this side, I'm going to ground the right foot. I'm holding onto the chair, and I'm going to take the left knee, bend it, turn it out to the side. I bring the left sole of the foot resting on my right calf, not my knee, on my right calf. So here I am in the tree shape. So what I need to do is ground my feet into the earth, because you need that foundation as though there's roots on the feet, just like a tree. And then you're reaching the upper part of your body from your hips upwards, up towards the sky, exactly like a tree does in nature, and shows us how it is to hold their space and their center through storms and keep themselves centered. Then if you wish, you can take your hands to the center for equilibrium. At any stage you feel you're out of balance, hit back on the chair, hold back on the chair. Pick a spot on the floor or on the table or whatever's in front of you that doesn't move. Focus on that spot and finding your balance. Just like in life, where we find our balance between work, rest, and play. If you're feeling very, very adventurous, you might want to take your hands up over your head and see what that's like to take the hands up over the head, advancing yourself in your tree shape. Look at something that doesn't move, because if you look at something that moves, you're going to move with it. Remember, trees sway, so it's perfectly fine to sway in your tree shape. And then we'll slowly come back down to the center and step down and hold on to the chair. Whew, notice what that was like. It could be a lot of work on one leg. Okay, we're going to go to the other side. Just make sure you have enough space for your knee alongside your chair. If you're not, you can turn to the other side of your chair. Oh, I'm loving that. You also take your leg up higher if you want, up into the inner thigh. So that would be even more advanced, but you would never press it against your knee. That's the one place you avoid, is pressing it against your knee. So you're holding onto the chair, you're grounding your feet in, draw your knees up into your thighs, feel solid on your lower body from your hips down, like the trunk of a tree. Extend the upper body up, as if somebody's pulling a thread from the top of your head upwards. Gaze at a spot that doesn't move. Choose then whether you're going to let the hands go. Make sure that chair is beside you so you can lean back into it for support. There's nothing wrong with leaning in for support. And then taking the hands up over the head if you wish to go a little bit further. And don't forget to breathe. Inhaling and exhaling. In and out through the nose, and just notice what it's like there. And then very, very slowly come back down to your tree. Notice what it was like to hold that balance. And then come down into a standing position. Beautiful. So here's where I'm going to invite you to come back to your chair. So come back onto your chair. This is the part you're really here for, right? The Shavasana, the relaxation. So that was super. Keep up your practice, even though we're meeting once a week. Don't be afraid to incorporate this practice into your lifestyle. If you find you're getting tremendous benefits out of today's class, imagine the benefits you'd get out of doing a little micro 5-minute, 10-minute practice every day, each day, and what value that would add to your life. So here we are for the lovely relaxation. Shavasana, just as important. Rest is just as important as everything else in our lives. Our bodies heal when we rest them. The flip side to that is if you don't rest your body will make you rest. You'll either catch a cold or a flu or something that will make you stop and rest. It's so important that the body gets time to heal and to rejuvenate and to release and all of that. Okay. So as we're here, ground your feet into whatever you're standing on. Take a moment to close your eyes. And as your eyes are closed here, begin to observe or notice any sounds in your environment. Notice any sounds in the distance. Any sounds within the room. And the sound of your own breathing. Sounds of your own heart beating. Your blood pumping. Just notice all your muscles settling back into their bones, the ligament, the connective tissues. Slowing down the breath, quietening down the breath. It's giving the body permission to come into stillness. Just notice what that's like to be here. Present with yourself. And if your mind is busy, distracting you, come back to the breath or the sensations of the body. You don't have to do anything here, just to breathe. And feel your whole body being held and supported by the chair, by the earth. You're so welcome to stay here longer, and especially if it's really sweet for you. And any of you ready to move out of the Shavasana, begin slow by wriggling fingers. Little movement into the toes. A few conscious breaths. Begin to stretch and reach. Imagine you're the bear coming out of hibernation. After a long winter, yawn. Make sounds if you like, that you're on mute, no one's going to hear you. Stretch, reach. And take your time to very slowly open your eyes, gazing towards your heart space, your center. Honor yourself, your body, your mind for showing up today for your practice. Notice how you feel. Any duality between your mind and body, any sweet, any bliss. And bring that with you into the rest of the day, the rest of the weekend. From my heart to yours, namaste. Thank you all so much for showing up today. As always, it was a pure joy to teach you chair yoga, and I look forward to seeing you next week. Thank you. My pleasure. My pleasure. Thank you so much. Good. Keep it up. So keep up that feeling. A little bit every day helps.
Thanks, Bronya. No worries. Bye. See you next week.
Bye.